When I woke up this morning, I asked myself a question. And the question is, why am I here? And even though that is a very simple question, the answer to this question makes all the difference. And my answer to this question was, because I want to. My name is Dr. Aarlijn van Genuchten, and I'm a member of the Task Force on Digitalization in Energy. And I'm very excited to be here as part of the Just Transition, because the work I'm talking about today is not just relevant for energy efficient behavior, but also for the just transition and fostering any other sustainable behavior. So I answered the first question, or my question, why am I here, with because I want to. And that means that I'm intrinsically motivated. So I am motivated from within. And being intrinsically motivated is super important, because people who have this motivation from within and want to make a difference, they are way more likely to keep their sustainable behavior up. And they are way more likely to inspire others to adopt this behavior as well, independent of whether we talk about the just transition, energy efficient behavior, and so on. The opposite of intrinsic motivation is extrinsic motivation, which means that we are not motivated from within, but from the outside. For example, by penalties or by rewards. And people who are extrinsically motivated often feel that they have to do something. But there are a few issues with extrinsic motivation. For example, people who are extrinsically motivated are way less likely to keep this behavior up in the long term. So as soon as these incentives and penalties are gone, they refer back to their old habits. And also when people are already intrinsically motivated and then suddenly they are rewarded or fined, then it's likely that they suddenly feel that this behavior is imposed by others. So they become less motivated. It can also become possible that people become dependent on these incentives instead of wanting to do this behavior by themselves, even going so far that it reduces the trust in the organizations and governments, for example, who suggest this sustainable behavior, which can, of course, have all kinds of unintended consequences. So, when extrinsic motivation has so many disadvantages, the question is, how can we trigger this intrinsic motivation? And there are many ways to do this, and I will share these ways with you based on an example in my own daily life, because I'm extremely intrinsically motivated for this project. But I want to stress that what I share with you not only applies to my example, it just as well applies to energy efficient behavior, just transition, and so on. The example I have brought is litter picking. I have started a litter picking initiative in my city with a neighbor about 2.5 years ago, because we wanted to keep our neighborhood clean. And we, in the meantime, grew this initiative, and now I'm leading this initiative with over 100 people being eager to support keeping the city clean. And it's even spreading to other cities as well. So the question is, what have we been doing and what are we still doing to trigger this intrinsic motivation? So when we communicate about our initiative, we make sure that we choose the right framing and messaging. So we communicate that this is a personal choice and that people can join when they want to make the city cleaner and contribute to a healthier environment. And we also show why their actions matter, that they can be effective and what impact they have when they join this initiative. And also make clear that they become part of a group of wonderful people because to be honest, only kind people come and go litter picking. So it's really wonderful to be part of this initiative. And the good thing is, when we then join together and go out for litter picking together, then other people see us in a group and think, oh, I'm not the only one who believes this is important. There are actually more in our city. So they are way more likely to join the initiative as well, which is social proof and peer influence. We are like a good example to others to join as well. And when they join, they want to join. Then we allow people to commit to the initiative by joining a WhatsApp group or an email list so that we can communicate when we meet. And we meet twice a week to go litter picking, but even when people can't join for whatever reason, they can see our messages so that litter picking stays on top of their mind, and they can even go litter picking outside of our events, which makes a positive difference, of course, as well. We also apply gamification because, for example, picking up cigarette butts, that's really annoying, but it's very useful and very helpful because one cigarette butt can poison about 50 liters of water. So we apply gamification and we put the cigarette butts we gathered into these little buckets you can see here, so that we can see how many we already gathered. And it suddenly becomes a lot of fun because just before we finish, we think, oh, come on, just a few more to fill this one more bucket. And we know one bucket is about 525 cigarettes, so we know we have already picked up over 140,000 cigarettes. We also noticed that this very personalized and we get a lot of direct and tangible feedback because we see that the area where we've been picking up litter is clean. We can see our buckets being filled, and at the end we can see how many bags we have filled and how much other waste we have removed from nature or from the streets. And in our digital world, I have to say that feels really good. We also make it easier for people to join the initiative by offering them to bring grabbers, buckets, bags if they don't have it. And I, for example, have this little bag and this tiny grabber next to my door. So when I go to the supermarket, I just grab this, and on the way back, I pick up everything I come across. So it's a very tiny action, but it makes it very easy to do and keep this sustainable behavior up. And apart from going litter picking, we do a lot of other initiatives to prevent littering. For example, asking the city to put up these bins so that people get silent cues to dispose of their waste properly instead of littering. And we've actually already been supported by the city with 3 waste bins. I can't tell you how happy I've been sometimes with new waste bins. So, taken together, what we do is we trigger autonomy so that people feel that they choose to join this initiative and join these litter picking events. We make them feel competent, that they really can make a positive difference and that their actions are effective and meaningful. And we share the relatedness, that we do this together and that it is wonderful to do this with other people who share the same purpose. And while this is a citizen-led initiative, it is of course also possible to, from top down, so from an organizational government level, inspire people to take action based on this intrinsic motivation, because they want to, by designing policies that actually trigger this intrinsic motivation, to adapt these policies to context, as we've heard earlier, then implement activation strategies so that these policies can actually be put into practice, and of course continuously improve so that these policies continue to fit to the context, and strategies, implementation strategies, can continue to improve as well. And as I said, this also not only applies to litter picking, it also applies a lot to the just transition as well, because this way, by triggering this intrinsic motivation, we can make people feel respected and empowered to be part of this transition. Finally, I would like to invite you to have a look at the paper that we wrote about this topic, because it has a lot of other very interesting case studies. And it goes into, of course, a lot more detail about how these policies can be created, how their effectiveness can be measured, and a lot more. And I, of course, would like to thank my wonderful co-authors, Alina, Seta, Stefan, and Igor, who did an excellent job working on this paper. That is the foundation of this presentation. And of course, feel free to reach out if you have any questions or need help. And finally, I would like to thank you for doing all the work that you are doing, because you want to make a positive difference as well. Thank you.